Well, today we're launching the party's manifesto on workers' rights, and over the last number of years we've seen a massive concentration of wealth in the hands of very few people. Oxfam reckon that 62 people on the planet have as much wealth as 3.5 billion people, and in this country it's estimated that a third of the wealth is now in the hands of about 10% of the population. And this has happened in large amount due to the fact that workers' pay and conditions are continuously being pushed down. Low pay, underemployment and precarious work are becoming the norm in this society, and the government has failed to action. In actual fact, this government, Fine Gael and Labour, have facilitated this race to the bottom, and we see that with regards bogus self-employment, where people who should be directly employed by their employers are now being employed as subcontractors with no PRSI entitlements, no sick pay entitlements, etc. We also see it with regards tactical insolvencies, where in Cleary's we had a situation where a profitable company separated assets from their liabilities to workers and walked away with a massive profit, leaving the state with millions of euros of debt. What has the government done? They've commissioned a report on it. They've failed to do anything with regards fixing the problem. And we see it with 0-hour contracts and low-hour contracts around the state. Very profitable companies like Dunnes Stores who give their workers very low hour contracts, forcing them into a situation where they can't feed their families properly, they can't plan for the future, they can't pay for rent and housing, etc. Again, what did the Minister for Tea and Sympathy, Jed Nash, do on this issue? He simply commissioned a report. Sinn Féin is about fixing these issues. Those three issues we have produced legislation for in the last 3 years. The government fails to implement that legislation. In government, we'll make sure that that legislation is put in place and there is simply a decent environment for workers, that they have to do a decent week's work, they get a decent wage at the end of it.
As a full-time union organiser, I have seen at first hand the devastation caused by this last government and by Fianna Fáil. Workers need and deserve mandatory collective bargaining. It is essential for organisation in our workplaces, and it is essential to strengthen our trade union movement, strengthen workers' rights and ensure decent work and decent jobs for all.
Sinn Féin is here today to launch our workers' rights proposals. We have seen over the course of the last number of years many workers locked out of their jobs. Many, like the Cleary's workers and Dunnes Stores workers, were treated shamefully. We have 1 in 5 workers in this state in low pay, and 16% of all workers suffer from in-work poverty. That's not the type of society we want. We want to strengthen workers' rights. We want collective bargaining legislation, which is mandatory. We think that workers should be able to be represented by their trade union. We want to see a living wage by increasing the minimum wage, but also looking at the cost of living and the standard of living for all working people, to ensure that by investing in healthcare, in housing and childcare, and making sure that people have decent wages and decent work, that we create a fair society and ensure that the wealth that is created is used for all citizens.